Hey folks, welcome to another Sonic Lab. Today we're having a look at something a little bit different because it's Uhbik 2 from Uhbik. Now this isn't really something I'd normally do for a PatchFlip because it's not actually a single plugin. It's a collection of 10 effects processing plugins. We've got delay, ambience, compressor, EQ, something called Runciter, which is a filter with characterful resonance and distortion, Grainshifter, shifter, flanger, phaser and tremolo, and they're all discrete plugins. So if I just load a couple of the UIs, you can see here there's actually quite a lot of stuff going on here. These aren't just straight studio effects. There's the new envelope follower. There's also an LFO which we can actually activate. So if I wanted to say take the LFO wave of that and map it to the cutoff in the Runciter, I can do that. We don't get the modulation actual showing up, which is, in terms of animation, you can see the depth, which direction it's going in. But there's also a variety. We can map the mod wheel, pitch wheel, control A, B, C. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do this. Aftertouch, MIDI inputs. There's also something called the mapper, which is very interesting. The mapper is a sort of step sequencer which can take its source from all of these controls and then step through. In fact, there's a couple of presets that I can show you later on that implement that. So it's a very deep way of integrating effects in a sort of almost modular synth way. But from a point of view of actually demonstrating, normally with a PatchFlip, I'm just flipping presets, playing and sort of commenting on them. With this, with 10 discrete products, it's a bit more tricky to do. So what I figured I'd do is I just created a mix. I'm using a few Apple loops and a bit of synth lines, and I just sort of tried to build something using as many of the plugins as I could. So first trick I'll show you, if I just come to the mixer page here, I'm just going to disable, this is actually handy, I only just discovered this, go to settings, select all in the mixer and then bypass all effects. So they're all gone. It also remembers the state of any plugins that were bypassed before you did that. But what I'm going to do now, I'll just come back here and make sure I've got my compression. I've got aid limit. I've got a couple of plugins here are not Uhbik, they're just sort of stock ones, but mostly it is. So let's just come back here. I'll start with the loop. I've got a loop which is just again an Apple loop. I'll just get a little bit of a loop here going. Let's string it out a bit. So here we go. Really basic. I'll start with just soloing that. So I'll bring the EQ in. And I'm just adding a bit more low end, a little bit of mid and taking up the top end. So it just sort of gives it a bit more vibe. Then I added ambience. Just a little bit. Again, you can just hear, just throws it out a little bit wider. Actually, I can throw a few presets here. Let's have a look. This is the ambience. Let's try a few. This is one I saved. Got a few more presets, so let's just go through a few while we're at it. This is actually a really nice reverb. Lots of different flavors. Just flipping through a few of these. Quite a lot of flavour. Let's have a look. Actually, there's one in here. Oh, actually, I'll save that. Let's go back to my main preset, just so I can carry on with the mix. Then I haven't got any EQ on this. I think I just was messing around with the tremolo, which is kind of interesting. Get some really fast tremolos in here. I'll use it a little bit later on in the mix, so let's not get too far. So then I bring in the bass. On the bass, I'm using Diva, just a very simple plugin. I'm starting with the EQ, just to bring it forward a bit. Then I'm adding some compression using the Uhbik compressor. This is actually quite a nice plugin, this. Again, we've got all kinds of potential for modulating and automating. I'm using it in a fairly straight fashion here. Then I've got a delay. It's a really nice delay with multiple taps. And what I'm actually doing in this one, if I solo it, I'm using the envelope follower here to just pick out some of the pings, so you're hearing them a bit more frequent depending on the input gain that's coming in. And that's down here in this section. This is one of the new features, which is actually really handy. There's a lot more stuff you could do with this. I will show you some more because I also added some ambience. Let's just shut this down. Just a little bit of ambience to add to that, but there's a nice preset in here which I'd like to show you, which does some really interesting stuff with shifting hall when loud. So you can hear this one. I'll just bring the level up a bit. What's happening with this one, as well as the envelope source follower, we've got this mapper, which is just stepping through when it's triggered. And what that's doing is changing the EQ, the high frequency range, and the Q. So it's changing the sort of flavour of the reverb each time it's sent a trigger, which is quite an interesting effect. I wondered about keeping that on. I don't know what you think. It's a little bit over the top. Maybe I'll go back to my user, just keep that. Checks the balance. Okay, so next we've got this other loop which comes in here, which I'm just sort of enhancing. If I think I've got a bus for this. Yeah, let's just do this. So I'll loop this. So I'm adding the EQ on this one. I'm adding compression, quite a lot of compression. But it really brings up, because all I'm doing is I've cut this up so you're getting these little hi-hat skips. And again, got a bit of ambience on there just to throw it out there, which I think works really nicely. Let's take this. Then we've got solo, come out of here. Then we've got this bell-bottom guitar, which is pretty static. Again, this is just an Apple loop I've cut up. So I've got a phaser on it. Let's just solo that and flip a few more presets while we're at it. Let's have a look. Discover. Some really... Oh, listen to that. That's nice. What's going on there? I think that must be... It's not using the mapper. And random LFO going to the phase 1. That's really nice, actually, isn't it? So in each of these plugins, there's an enormous amount of variation. Which was the one? That one's lovely, isn't it? I'm tempted to use that, but I think I'll stick with my original. Oh, which was just called Jetty, so I'll stick to that. Next in... Actually, what I was going to do is, let me just find, oh yeah, we got piano, and the piano gets a bit disco, so we'll just come into here. And I've done quite a lot to this because I wanted this sort of disco vibe, so got an EQ, which is the Uhbik EQ, just bringing the mids forward. Then I've got this really nice ambient. This is a sort of, it's called Fairy Tale. There's some lovely ones in here though. I do like this reverb. Let's just go back to my users. Oh, I didn't save my... Oh, I think, yeah, this one was it called, what was it? Did I say it was called Fairy Trail? Which has got some really nice modulation on it. So far, fairly basic. Let's just get rid of it. And we keep coming through. Then we've got this next item to come in will be this guy, which is a really basic Apple loop. And what I've done with this one, I've added using the Grainshifter. I'm getting some really interesting pitch shift stuff. I'm adding a delay to that. Really like this delay. Then I did do a little bit of other stuff. I've got an EQ, just brings out, which is the stock EQ. And the Tremolo I've added, which is giving this auto pan. I can do this in other ways, but this is just the quickest way I could get the effect I wanted. Then I'm going into Synth Bass Process, which is another diva sound, which I'm adding. So let's see what I'd add. Add the EQ on this. Give it a bit more gnarl. Then I'm going to, I added this phaser. I've got tremolo in, and I'm not bringing that in until I get to the end of this, where you'll see, if I go to the second part of this. I'll get to that other line that comes in. Here we go, and this goes. Just bring this in, which is a really nice, adds a bit of reverb, and there's quite a lot of reverb on that as well, which is an interesting thing for a bass. So the next thing that comes in that you probably heard there briefly was the sort of cheesy Euro line, and I'm not using the EQ on this. Yeah, so I've got that going on. Now let's just go back to the beginning, and I'll take it all out of solo, and we can have a little bit listen, because I'm doing some stuff on the main bus as well. So if I just maybe use this part. I've got compressor on this. Oh, that just really slaps it forward, doesn't it? All the beats. And then all of these aren't doing anything, but what's interesting, we can flip through a few of these presets on the Runciter, which is a really interesting, so if I switch it, just some really extreme preset. Some nice envelope follower there. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? I wonder if that's using the mapper. No, not using the mapper in this one. Using a sort of dotted, feels like. I like that. I could use these as little turnarounds, just bringing them in. And then there's, what was this, late? So this is actually quite a powerful sonic shaper, sort of distortion filter. That's a nice, you could use this as sort of turnarounds and breakdowns quite easily. I'll take this out of, now I suppose I should give you the whole mix, because that will give us the whole flavour of it. I think I've covered pretty much everything. Oh no, there's another bit that comes in here. Yeah, here we go. This is bass station. I'm using this as bass station. That's all working, right? And I've just added, so if I just come, I'll just loop this section. Again, really nice at bringing out high Q sounds, this EQ. Adding delay. And I did, this is also going to something else, because this turnaround, I think I've got bus 20. That's going to bus 20. Then I've got the Runciter, and if I got the EQ, say, yeah, I've got this little turnaround, which is on this track here. It was a little... Yeah, so the preset there, at that point, what that's doing is using the Runciter with a rhythm hacker. I think it's doing it. Yeah, it's doing it via the mapper. You see, the mapper is the depth and the cutoff. Gosh, there's quite a lot of complex modulation here, which I can't really go into all of this. I mean, there's so many products within this range, but just suffice to say, there's actually quite a lot of sort of behind the scenes and deeper effects processing you could do if you want to get in there, or otherwise you can flip the presets and just check it all out. So yeah, as we continue on, I'll play that little. And then I'm good to go. So Uhbik 2 is available now. I think it's €199. I don't think it's anything going on in the Black Friday sale. However, there are a lot of other bargains for Uhbik products and sound packs that you can check out while you're there. You get those 10 effects. Each one is really useful just for sort of either channel processing or entire mix. And they sound really nice, but also you could get really deep in there. And they've sort of included a bunch of stuff that you would find perhaps in some of their deeper synthesis plugins for modulating and creating some really complex patches and chains. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. That was Uhbik 2. I didn't cover all of them, but I hope that's given you a taste of what's available. So let me just play it out, and thanks for watching. See you later.